Looking for music that lifts your spirit and fills your heart? Experience the powerful sound of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. Now streaming on all your favorite music platforms. Find the Tabernacle Choir on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Let the music of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square inspire you today and every day. Whether you're at home, in the car, or on the go, enjoy the beauty of their world-renowned sound anytime. The Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, streaming now.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, we are about to descend into college football.
Yes.
Here it comes. Now, before we get into it, once you're into it, it's the day-to-day, and it's who's hurt, and how did somebody play last week, and how they're going to play next week. Right now, we have a moment we can go big picture before we jump off the cliff into the middle of the quagmire. So, big picture, you have been, it's hard to believe, but Kalani Sitake got hired. His first year was 2016.
I know.
So he's now coached a decade. He's going into his
11th.
second decade. So in this era of college football, where, 5, 6, 7 years is a pretty good run, and coaches are either moving up to a bigger school for another payday, or they're moving on to the NFL, or they're getting fired, or they're leaving town before they get fired. A decade's a really good run. He's going to be among the longest tenured coaches in the country here very shortly, because he'll add year 11, 12, and because some of those guys in front of him, as we saw with Kyle Whittingham and with Oklahoma State, those are two of the three longest tenured programs in the country, and they both have changes. And Iowa will at some point, because I think Ferentz is far and away the number one guy now as far as tenure. Kalani's going to get discussed like that, and he's going to get discussed like that in BYU history. So you have a question you would like to present to the audience, and it is...
He's entering his 11th season, which makes him the longest tenured coach in the Big 12. So, he's getting past Bronco now, and obviously Lavelle Edwards is the target. What is Kalani's legacy when he's going to be done? It's amazing to me that he's already the longest tenured coach, obviously with Kyle leaving this year and then the year before with, what's-his-face, Gundy getting canned. That ends up shaking it up, and he's got everybody by 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
The next closest are 7, and that would be Aranda and Satterfield, and I think that's it. Yeah, and then Leipold, Kansas at 6. And there's a couple guys at 5, Dykes and McGuire. And then you got remember they hired Dillingham and Deion Sanders at the same time, and Scott Frost. So there were 4 that going into their 4th season. And then you got Willie Fritz going into his 3rd. And then you got a bunch of rookies, man. You got 4 rookies. Now, they're not necessarily rookie head coaches. In case of Morgan Scalley, he is a rookie head coach. But Rogers at not Washington State, at Iowa State, coming from Washington State. Klein, the kid who played, he's only 36 years old. They got 2 36-year-olds. I think that's what Kenny Dillingham is, and Klein is also.
The next generation. Yeah. Here they come.
Morris at Oklahoma State. So there'll be 4 rookie coaches, man. This is not a business for longevity. Kalani
really
has made it at the same school, obviously, for going into his 11th season, and it looks like it's going to continue for as long as he wants it. He is 50 years old. He turned 50 last October, the day before they beat Arizona in Tucson. And so what does he want to do?
So was that flirtation with Penn State and then the new deal at BYU, was that equivalent to Lavelle's flirtation with the Detroit Lions? Like, there comes a moment where you're succeeding, you're growing, you're establishing yourself, and there's a moment where everybody realizes it, and then it still takes time within the profession where there's an opportunity that could make sense, and you decide not to take it. And then you're locked in. Now, the way college football works, maybe I shouldn't assume that he'll go out and do another 15 years like Lavelle did, because I think Lavelle's deal was after 84, and he went to 2000. So that's a long time to assume it's going to keep rolling. But at the same time, Kalani's career breaks into a couple segments here. There's one where he's figuring it out, and maybe a little slow on that, in part because he didn't get to hire his own assistants.
You're talking
in
about
the first
BYU.
2 years. Yes.
As a head coach.
Right. So he was 2 games over 500 as a head coach after 4 years. There's that segment. There's Kalani figures it out. Then there's Kalani figures out independence. His last 3 years independence, 11-1, 10-3, 8-5. And 8-5 had a quarterback injury in there. They had a 4-game losing streak. Jaron Hall, good player, having a good year, and clearly was not healthy from the first throw against that Notre Dame game. And that cues the 4-game losing streak.
Peyton Manning at the end of his career said, "What was that?"
What was that? I got a strong arm compared to that. What happened to your shoulder?
Yeah.
Then you go into the Big 12, and again, a quarterback injury the first year. They're 5-7. They started 5-2, and it fell apart down the stretch. Partly because of the way the schedule was stacked with Texas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State at the back end of the schedule. They're all good teams, but they had the quarterback injury in the middle of the Texas game, and they never won again. But the other way to look at it is Kalani's figuring out how to win the first 4 years, and then the next 6, he's got 4 double-digit win seasons and 2 quarterback injuries. So there is, I think, an argument to be made here. Hey, Kalani, if you can keep your starting quarterback healthy, you're going to have a really good team. You got the rest of this figured out. He's got an 11-1, a 10-3, an 11-2, a 12-2, and those are really good years when the quarterback's figured it. Now, when the quarterback's injured, partway through the season, they're 13-12.
Sure, but I think that happens for everybody.
I was about to say, I can literally go right up the street and look at Kyle Whittingham, and when the quarterback's healthy, double-digit wins, Rose Bowls. When the quarterback's not healthy, 8 wins, 5 wins. So you can draw a straight line. It's the comparisons are astonishing. I mean, they are really
parallel. Well, I think that's on a team level that goes beyond Kalani, is that make sure you have a backup ready to go. And if you can do that.
Easier said than done, but that has got to be the goal.
You're probably not going to have a great season, but you can have a respectable season.
As we see the difference between winning 8 and winning 5.
And
maybe the quality of the schedule in Kalani's case.
Sure, but you need to have somebody somehow, and it's hard, but you got to do it. I think they'll do it this year if hopefully Bachmeier plays all the games and all that. But I think with Bourget there that they have a little stopgap if they need him. Was this Penn State, Lavelle Edwards' Detroit Lions that actually went to Darryl Rogers, the Sun Devil coach at the time, and he had done a pretty good job there in Tempe. And I think that this was more dramatic. Now, certainly I don't remember 84. It's all reading up on it. No idea what was going on at that point. I knew BYU, they went undefeated. It was controversial to be ranked number 1, and Bo Diddley Tech on the Today Show with Brian Gumbel. If you're a sports fan, you had an awareness of that. I think that for Lavelle Edwards, it was a personal decision. And you may say, well, it was a Kalani's personal too. Yes. But I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it was a defining moment of the program in terms of resources. I think here, and I can speak to this with a level of intelligence and insight, and we were both there that night in further conversations after that, BYU had to show the commitment that Penn State was making. I don't think that BYU had to show the commitment that the Detroit Lions were making.
Well, the NFL and college football is little apples and oranges. And we are in an era where the arms race financially is just crazy. Not that they didn't have issues in 84 they were working on, because they did. But it does seem like everything's accelerated now. And to your point, BYU, to keep a good coach now, all the good coaches know, well, yeah, I want to be paid. There's that. And then all the assistants have to be paid. And the facilities have to be up to snuff, and the NIL budget has to be.
It's basically the comprehensive commitment.
And if you don't check all the boxes, then there's a potential for trouble. And coaches know that, and they know they'll be accountable for trouble. Trouble in this case, let's emphasize not the letter T, the letter L. The losses will stack up. You better have the NIL. You better have the best staff. you better have a big enough staff. You need all the analysts and all that so you can be preparing for one big game on the field with your team and have another set of people preparing for the game 2-3 weeks down the road.
Yeah.
Everything has to be buttoned up.
And if they hadn't come through, we'll never know. But I think there was a really good chance that Kalani would have felt, I've tapped out here. I've gone as far as the program will allow us to go. And when he said I'm competitive, what he was saying is if they didn't up the ante in BYU, they would have left me no choice but to go to Penn State, and where the funds are available for you to compete with the likes of some superpowers, obviously. So BYU was able to increase it to the point where clearly he was satisfied.
For the people who don't think he would really go, the hometown guy, not that it's his hometown, but it's his, alma mater, that he would leave. Well, he left Utah for Oregon State. So he is certainly comfortable in the Beehive State, but he did leave it when he thought his career demanded it. He thought he needed an extra year. He thought he was being held responsible because the offense wasn't producing. Not that he was pointing fingers, but it was clear why they weren't winning games. And if they didn't win games, they were going to get fired. Why do I need to be held accountable for that? So he did what he thought he had to do, and he left. I think in a similar situation, if he thought he had to do it, he would have done it. He'd done it before. He would do it again. And I think that just talk to people around the program, players, staff, assistant coaches. They're all over the map as far as what they thought or expected might happen.
They thought they were gone.
They have they hear these conversations, they hear these bits, they can't know and guarantee. But when you talk to them, before they even say the words, you can hear it in their voice, you can see it in their eyes. They're thinking, do I have to pull my kids out of school if they have them? Do I have to sell my house if I bought one? Do I have to relocate? Will I not go? Some people are going to go, but everybody isn't going to go.
It was just like Kyle to Michigan.
Do I have to find a place here, or do I have to find a place somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
And man, you just talk to them and the stress and that's a player thing too, by the way. As we saw with Kyle to Michigan, there were half dozen players went with him. There was some who didn't have a place, and there were probably some who had to decide.
Yeah, I think that the ones that Kalani wanted to take were preparing for themselves to go. It's much like Kelly Poppinga did with Michigan. And I do think that Jay Hill would have been named the coach, and I think there was at least one person high up who was very comfortable with Jay Hill being the head coach. And then some others stepped in and said, no, we need to keep this man. We need to reward. We need to get in the game. And that's a big kudos to BYU, who had been known for being cheap or cheaper, that they upped the ante and that allowed him to stay. Now he has an opportunity to create a legacy that is certainly ballpark as Coach Edwards.
I was going to go to one word: massive. You can't replace what Lavelle did because they literally were nowhere. Right. I mean, just 40 years of it, mostly agony. Yeah. Mostly agony. And then Lavelle flips the thing. So you can't.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who did it first
Edwards
has always got a special place, right? But depending on how long Kalani wants to stay, and depending on how long he wants to coach, I mean, retirement's an option at some point too. But depending on how many years he wants to win, at the clip he's winning at, he could write a massive legacy here.
Yeah.
If it comes down to the only mediocre and bad years are when your quarterback's hurt, and you want to dismiss some of these seasons, okay. I mean, the 2020 schedule was cobbled together. They were a G5 program. They played G5 programs. I get it. So you can dismiss this or dismiss that. But once it's 4 times in 6 years, it stands on its own. And 2 of them have been in the Big 12. And that was a really good Utah team they beat. And they went 12-2. And Tech's got them. And, we know Tech bought an awesome front seven, and they couldn't block it. So it's not coming down to coaching. It's coming down to talent and resources. And the fact they couldn't block Texas Tech, there's no way. There is no way that didn't at least partly inform what Kalani was asking for when he went into these negotiations. It's fresh in his mind.
Well, they're the standard bearer financially.
There's the standard bearer financially. There's the standard bearer on the field. How do we get there? What do we need? Mm-hmm. And the same questions had to be getting asked at Penn State, because he knows if he goes to Penn State, he's immediately held responsible for beating Ohio State and Michigan, and now Indiana.
But that's
as well.
what you want.
It is, right. So do they have the resources? You have to get them. But, man, if you're going to start rattling off 10, 11, 12 wins this season, which is what he's done, then the sky's the limit. You can't replace what Lavelle did. His name's on the stadium. He started it. But you could have a massive legacy, be a towering figure. And I think there's timing matters. Like Bronco had an awesome run, but then they went independent, and it lost a little bit of steam. Kalani had the good fortune of he's learning and figuring it out in independence, but then he goes into the Big 12, which really gives him a platform to build off of that becomes inarguable.
Game changer, as
right.
Santiago will tell you.
Yeah.
Literally use those words. It was and is a game changer. If Kalani wants to coach till he's 65, so that would be this is going into his 11th, so that would be another 14 years or so. Man, you're right. You are 100% right. If he wins at the pace, man, that
massive.
Is just
yeah, the word is massive. And we don't know where college is going. We don't know like how many playoff wins and what's that going to look like, and could he possibly win a national title? All that seems far-fetched right now. But there is something to be said for stacking up the wins and winning. And this is what Kyle is going for him. Kyle was fortunate that he got to be the head coach in the Pac-12 era. You know, Urban and Mac didn't get that, and Mac had to build the program. And what could Urban have done if they were given a chance to play some of these other teams? But Kyle got to play really good USC and Oregon teams with a trip to the Rose Bowl on the line. And when you win those, it just vaults you into a place. Even if you end up losing the Rose Bowl, which he did, it still vaults you into the place, man. The adrenaline in the building when they won those games, my gosh. You were there. I'm watching back in Utah on TV, and what you could feel coming through the screen. Oh, my gosh. And working with the half Ute fans and half Cougar fans, the respect the Cougars gave them for winning those games, even if they didn't like it, and the respect the Ute fans who obviously loved it.
Yeah.
And Kalani's going to get to coach those kind of games.
Yeah.
He lost the Tech game. Well, Kyle lost to Washington, lost to Oregon.
Yeah, and there's still some building to do,
sure.
Obviously.
Yeah. But if you accomplish that, if you climb those steps,
right,
then the word's massive.
Agreed.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
When she said I don't dance now, I make money moves, that was a mission statement for a whole new generation.
Respect, but that's not the Mount Rushmore. Listen, cash rules everything around me. When that line dropped, it changed the whole hustle. The greatest tracks are never finished. They're just debated forever. Introducing the Sprite Living Track List. 50 tracks that shape the culture from 6 decades of hip-hop. Scan the QR code on a Sprite or Sprite Zero Sugar to see the full breakdown. Obey your thirst. Sprite.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. College football on the horizon. PK, you're going to let me – I can't believe you want to do this. It's one of my favorite things. You're letting me play.
You're welcome.
Here's all the Tonka trucks in a big sandbox. Let's go.
I mean, I'm a magnanimous guy.
You really are.
I don't even know what that word means.
We're talking schedules. I think you do. We're talking schedules. What are they looking at? PK wants to circle some big games. You are the rare guy. You will plan out your day. Your Saturday is planned out on Tuesday or Wednesday. This is when the team. So you have these 6-day windows now. So like sometimes it's Monday before you or Sunday before you find out when you're actually going to play. All right, I'm going to the gym here because I got to watch this game at that time and then this game at that time.
Yeah.
We got the Utes and the Cougars schedules. You want to go through here big games because I don't want to say it's Mountain West-ish, but there's definitely haves and have-nots. And in the Mountain West in the latter days, it was just BYU, Utah, and TCU. It's not that, but there are a lot of games that don't look like they measure up. There are a lot of games that looks like the Utes and Cougars are going to win. But there's some big ones that can be circled. We're not at the point where it's a 2 or 3 game season, which is what it was back in the day.
I think that
we had 4, 5, or 6 game seasons.
The first game, it seems to me that can be a little bit of an inclination of how the season goes, right? They played Portland State last year in the first game. They beat them 69-0. Well, we remember when they played Portland a while back in that 4-9 season, and they struggled like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dillingham's first game was against Southern Utah at ASU, and it took a lot to beat Southern Utah. Well, they sucked that year.
Right.
They only won 2 more games. So even though you're going to win that game, I do
Style
think
points matter, right?
I think it doesn't. It matters in terms of how we're going to judge this team. You should blow out Utah Tech.
Well, it sets our expectations.
Yeah.
If you go out there and you win by 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, whatever, depending on when you decide to put the backups in. But if it looks easy, then you think, okay, they got a good team. We know what to expect.
Yeah.
And if it looks like heavy lifting, And it's a 2-score game in the middle of the fourth quarter.
And the coaches know it. The kids know it.
Yeah.
Fans are feeling uneasy in the stands. So I suspect they'll beat Utah Tech and beat them.
So you don't want to establish Utah Tech as a big game just because it's going to set the tone?
No, but it is a little – it's not a complete blow-off either.
Telltale game.
It can be, yes. Yeah. But obviously the September 12th, I've been talking about it for weeks. And I'm really looking forward to being
Arizona's a big game.
It's huge.
They won a lot of games last year, and they got their QB back.
You want to, as far as a tone setter in the conference, that's gigantic because you can't let the Cats come in here and get a road victory against a team that most folks are picking to make the conference final. First or second, doesn't really matter. So that's a huge game. And talking to Fafita down in Dallas a couple weeks back, he's saying, man, we got that game circled because we let that thing slip away last year. There's no way we should have lost that game, blah, blah, blah. And he did say, hey, but they earned it. And so Fafita's got a bunch of family that live up here and all that. He's going to be on his game right off the bat. So
I definitely have
that gigantic.
If we're looking for top 5 games out of the schedule, I definitely have that Arizona Conference Opener Week 2 as a top 5 game without question. The thing I like about BYU's schedule here is that the games I've identified as the top 5 games, they don't have back-to-back. They don't have back-to-back road games. They have back-to-back road games, but they don't fall in back-to-back weeks. They get a bye week between CSU and TCU weeks 3 and 4, and I would identify that game at TCU.
TCU's gigantic.
Absolutely believe that.
TCU is always going to be one of these teams. Sometimes they're going to be great, but they're going to be dangerous. Sonny Dykes is a brilliant offensive mind, and that game, that's a huge game. I mean, they go to Colorado State for some reason I don't understand, but obviously that's not a conference game.
Because that's the recipe. The recipe is you play a Big Sky team, you play a Mountain West
but you don't play a Mountain
team.
West away.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of those are like no-money games. It's got to be home and home. So why CSU? Find somewhere you recruit? Or
I don't
know.
I don't understand why you would play that game there. Play them here all you want, but not there. But then TCU, that's really, really big. Absolutely. That deserves on that list.
BYU's games, to me, fall every other game. It's 2, 4, 6, 8. Don't go. I knew you'd do that. Don't do that. No, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 are their 5 big games. Arizona, game 2, big game. At TCU, game 4, big game. TCU is their best road trip because although Utah's a road game, I don't think of it as a road trip. You're just getting on a bus and going 45 minutes.
It's not a traditional road game.
Yeah. Notre Dame, game 6, obviously massive. I mean, that's the best non-conference game in the entire Big 12 conference right there. ASU on Halloween. I'm torn about
spooky.
I'm torn about that game. I'm putting in the top 5. Obviously, Utah, November 7. I think those are my 5 games. And if I'm going to swap them out, if I'm wrong, ASU at home October 31, maybe that should be out. And at Kansas on the 21st should be in. You know, ASU has a lot of people to replace, as you pointed out. And if it doesn't quite come together, I don't like ASU having to be at Texas A&M and then go overseas week 3. You know, if they get off to a bad start, if it's not clicking and they get buried, I could see that's the scenario where the season gets away.
Sure.
I also think Dillingham's a good coach, and they'll ride that out. And, you know, that maybe
they could be playing good ball by then.
I know, yeah. That's why I'm putting it in as a top 5 game. I don't see how you can debate Notre Dame and Utah. Those are the 2 biggest games. And we both agreed on Arizona and TCU.
I'm surprised you hadn't gone your travel to time zone thing because I think UCF is very dangerous.
I can see that. I also
and there's a letdown after
that
is
exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth. The thing about the UCF game is the letdown. I just don't know if they have the talent to do it. They've really been struggling. If you remember the Utes, when they're struggling at quarterback, they've had the multiple QB injuries, and they lost 7 games in a row. The Utes still went there and won, and UCF was just such a mess. But traveling 2 time zones, the week after most of the game with Notre Dame, if UCF, you know, under theory, gives somebody time to build it up.
Well, they got Barnett coming in, the James Madison transfer, with all sorts of experience. And so that is something to be worried about. I think UCF, to me, is a little like the Devils in terms of they're going to seem to always have skill players. guys who can make plays. Are they good enough in the interior remains to be seen. But a lot of folks, when you're asked, who's a sleeper team down in Dallas, they're talking about UCF. They didn't finish well. I mean, they started with three wins, and they only won 5. And the conference win, one of them was a 3-pointer over Oklahoma State.
Who's terrible.
And so they lost 4 of their last 5 with only a 3-point win at home against Oklahoma State. And then BYU came out here and hammered it pretty good. But they're going to have a ton of transfers. And you're traveling across the country.
And Frost is in his 2nd year, and maybe that's a lot
different
than
the
4th. Is it really?
Scott Frost?
Scott Frost, because Gus Malzahn was there. Frost. See, I think with Frost in his 4th, are they counting that he did 2 and now he's back for 2? See, I think that's why they're calling it his 4th. Because Malzahn was there when they came into the Big 12, unless I'm up in the night. But I think he was there both before and after that. I thought Malzahn did 4 years. Frost is in his 4th year, but only his 2nd consecutively.
Right. This is, yeah.
So I think as far as building the roster, the reason I didn't put that as a top 5 game is they just have not measured up. They've had good teams there, but they have not measured up in the Big 12 era. You're big on, well, first off, they haven't had a winning season. They've only been bowl eligible once. They finished 6-7 when they lost the bowl game. And their league record has been 3-6, 2-7, 2-7.
Yeah.
So that's why I left it out of the top 5.
But, I mean, it's traveling across the
I
country.
got you on the travel, and I got you on the letdown after Notre Dame, and those are real things. And if he has brought in more trouble or more talent, they could cause some trouble. I get it.
Yeah.
I am also with you on the line of scrimmage. If BYU is as good at the line of scrimmage as we're being led to believe, that does help avoid the upsets because
I think they should win that
wear
game.
you out. And that's why I went to. Because the area issue I was looking at is the week before Utah. Are you looking past it? How much hype is there for the BYU-Utah game?
I would agree with you.
But Kansas, super late in the year. Who's healthy? You're traveling in that game.
It's over there, yeah.
Right. So that's why, if I'm wrong about ASU, it's Kansas.
Okay.
All right. Now to the Utes. I have a different problem with the Utes schedule here. The Utes, they do not have their big games spread out. Their big games, I think, are stacked in November. Their November is, look out, BYU, Arizona, TCU 3 weeks in a row. BYU at home, at Arizona, at TCU. No bye week for a breather, none of that. That is just, wow. So to me, those 3, especially because they come one right after another, those are the 3 toughest games. And when I was trying to figure out, okay, the other top 5, I defaulted to Houston at home October 24th, mostly because
we got to have 5 games if we're going to say the 5
I think they got
games.
this.
Yeah.
The 5th one's hard to – and the thing about it is a lot of these teams have been down, so who's really hitting the transfer portal, and we're just not dialed in enough to know, right? Maybe it's Arkansas or Kansas at home. Maybe it's going to Iowa State, but they lost so many guys with a coaching transition. Is it at Cincinnati on Halloween? Is that spooky? What's the 5th one? What do you got? West Virginia letdown just because you're beat up the home game on Friday on a short week?
I think you got to go with the Vandals.
You do not. You're not going to Idaho. You want to go Utah State, the emotion in the game, and they're all sorts of fired up? No. I don't know where you're going. I've listed everybody, PK. I didn't say Colorado.
The Big 12 title game. Colorado's been talking up a game.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Their coordinator who was at Texas for a time, he said that he believes their offensive line is better than anything he had at Texas. And Deion saying, we've got all the parts, now we're going to show you. Now, I don't know if it's bravado or what. They do get a lot of new players again, but they had some talent like that Seaton, that big offensive lineman who was a 5-star, went down to LSU. Receivers, the Devils plucked their best receiver out, and they're hoping it's a Jordan Tyson thing because Tyson had transferred from Colorado. So they lost some talent too. I think Colorado will be better, but I'm not so sure that they're going to be bowl eligible.
Okay.
So you agree? I can't go.
You
there.
agree with me on the big 3
Could be wrong.
November 7, 14, and 21. Home to BYU, at Arizona, at TCU. Those are definitely top 5 games for the Utes. Do you agree? Now, I think I'm higher on Houston than you, but I think Houston's got to be game 4 as we sit here.
Well,
right
if you
now.
look at it in relative to these games, yeah.
Houston's 4. And who's 5?
I'd go Kansas right now.
Okay.
But West Virginia, I want to see what Rich Rod does too.
Kansas was a good game at Kansas last year. I mean, the Utes won it. They broke it open late, I think.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
So that could be it. They build on it, sure.
But they have an easier schedule and a more favorable schedule, except for
end.
November. Yeah, November, that's got to rank. I haven't doped out everybody's November schedule. But that 3-game run, I should say.
Okay.
7, 14, 21.
Give me a percentage chance that the Utes start 6-0. I mean, anything can happen in any one game.
I would say high 60s.
Okay.
I think they should. I see no reason why they don't. And by that time, they roll into November thinking they're all that.
4 of the first 5 are at home.
Yeah.
And then at Colorado is game 6. So 6-0 when Houston comes to town?
I would think so.
Yeah. Man, Cincinnati is
Can't guarantee
game
it.
8. And Cincinnati, I don't know how good they're going to be, but they ought to be up. They got humiliated by Utah. I don't know how many guys they have back. I shouldn't even say that with the transfer portal. How many guys? But the guys who were there last year for that, like, I know you're not big on payback games, but PK.
Well, that was a beatdown.
That was a thumping.
Oh, yeah, that's why Utah had a very good team.
Now, they'll also have a lot of new guys who don't know anything about it and don't care.
Utah.
So what are the odds if it's high 60s, which I can see? Totally agree. 6. I mean, anything can happen in any one game, and you got injuries. So you can't get too carried away here. But on paper, they're going to be favored one week after another.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what are the odds there? 8-0 for the BYU game. 8-0 going into November with a brand new coach.
Yeah,
new head coach.
I mean, not totally brand new.
Okay, he's in the program. I get it. But he's head coach for the first time.
Yeah.
And we have all these first-time head coaches saying, wow, it's different.
Right, but I think the lack of big dogs that they play and the talent that they have should take care of any growing pains that Morgan Scalley needs to endure. And I don't know how many growing pains he needs to endure. We'll see. It is first time. But, yeah, I would say probably, 65 because something could go wrong. The ball doesn't bounce. Every game doesn't turn out like it's supposed to.
Yep, totally agree. And we haven't even begun to factor in injuries yet, and you never know. D-line, O-line, whatever.
And they're going to have them. Everybody does.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I think there's a decent chance. At worst, 2 losses. I would probably go 1 just for the sake of things happen.
Randomness,
but undefeated for the first 2 months is not out of the realm, and it sets up an incredible game at home against BYU on the 7th. I would be stunned and hugely impressed if BYU goes into that game undefeated.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you've coached high school level ball. You talk about coaching college, and you've coached so many different levels and know so many different people. Weber State, our guy Eric Kjar, has got their practices going on now because they play early against Northern Colorado. First 3 games are on the road, including at Colorado, Deion Sanders' team. What level of adjustments do you think that somebody going from high school, not to be an assistant position coach, but going from high school to head coach, that's a big jump.
So let me just start by saying Eric's he's an incredibly charismatic personality. Like, the players are going to love him. The coaches that coach with him are going to love him. I think there's been a little bit, inadvertently, the whole Michigan staff going to Michigan messed with his coaching staff a little bit.
How so?
Believe it or not. So Eddie Heckert, for example, was going to be the defensive backs coach. He's at Michigan now. And he had played at Weber and had played at...
Jay Hill guy.
Yeah, Jay Hill ended up taking him. And so there's 2 things I think are really hard as a high school coach, and I think he's going to be able to overcome it. I don't know if he overcomes it in year 1. right? Because I don't think they're quite there as far as having all the players in place that they want.
You got to have talent.
They have some really good players, and they've hustled really hard. So, like, it's not like they're not out there, like, doing it. They're just you got to have a certain amount of bodies on a team, and you got to have a certain amount of depth. I don't think he quite has it yet. I think he would tell you that. I don't think this is me. Here's where I think it'll be a little bit difficult. I think the hardest part for a high school coach to do is to put together a really good staff. I think that's a harder part than anything. Now, I think he has some parts there. I don't know if he has all the parts that he really wants. I mean, we'd have to give him truth serum to, like, actually really say whether he has all the coaches that he wants.
Yeah.
I think that's hard. And then I think getting all of your coaches on the same page and having the same standard for who you're recruiting to come in and how you want to recruit them. Now, Weber's in a little bit of a unique situation because when you look at a high school film and you see a really good player, well, if he's a really good player on a high school film, he's going to get offered by Utah or BYU. And you're not going to get him.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to have, like, a standard and have an understanding of, like, where this player fits with Weber State and why he fits at Weber State. And that takes a couple of years, I think, to, like, really establish with your coaching staff and even with yourself about how am I going to compete in this league. And to be honest with you, a lot of people call the Big Sky Conference kind of either the SEC or the Big Ten of FCS football. Right? It's a really good conference. And
no question.
You have to get good players. You got to figure that out. So I think those are the two hardest things as a high school coach. Really, maybe hardest things to do as just a new head coach. Now, but if you're a new head coach from, like, another college, you kind of have established, like, what your standard is for what you're going to recruit.
Yeah.
And how you're going to do that. But I'll say this. I have an 11-year-old son right now. I don't know if he hopes to play college. He loves every sport, so I don't even know that football is his number one sport right now. He plays football, basketball, and baseball. But if my son were to play college football, I would love to send him to Lance Anderson at Utah Tech, Eric Kjar at Weber State, Kalani Sitake, Morgan Scally, and Bronco Mendenhall. I think those are 5 of the very best men that I would want to send my kid to play with. I think that rivals anywhere in the country. Those are good dudes, great coaches, good people, would take care of your son. I think we are in one of the most unique situations in the state of Utah right now as far as, like, good men being at the helm of the universities here in the state of Utah. Now, I don't know the Southern Utah coach as well. I don't really, in fact, I don't know him at all. I'm not saying he's not. But those 5, if my kid played for any of those 5, I'd be like, how awesome is this? Let's put on the hat and let's ride into the sunset. This is going to be a fun thing for my son.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable people. Like, Eric Kjar is as charismatic. If he were sitting in this room right now, he would have some story in between segments that would be laced with a couple of curse words that we can't throw on air. And you and I would be eating up the stories. We'd be eating up the stories.
I think he makes fun of me too much, though.
He makes fun of everybody, you big baby. You're not unique.
Oh, I'm not at all.
It's called the spotlight effect. You're like, oh, he's picking on me. No, he picks on everyone.
He likes to ride people.
And you think he's just picking on you.
He likes to ride people. Well, it would upset my wife.
Because he teased you too much?
No, he teased her.
Oh, well.
I worked with him for many years.
That's a whole, like, listen, one of the hardest things I've had to learn in my marriage is that I cannot tease my wife the way I used to tease my teammates. And that's kind of how you show you love your buddies. We tease the heck out of each other.
Oh, I know.
I have a friend that tells me, this is his joke with me. He's like, if the Lord and Savior himself walked through that door, you'd make fun of his sandals, Riley.
That might be a little bit stretching it. One of my proudest moments was when Bronco Mendenhall made fun of me.
That is a sign of endearment.
Right.
And that probably doesn't come easy from him.
Yeah. I remember.
Because that's not his natural
No, it's not.
MO.
But he felt comfortable enough around me to tease me.
That is actually phenomenal.
And I used to love it when Kevin O'Connor, an Irishman from back east, we got a little bit of background.
Yeah.
And he would give me crap all the time. And I loved it.
Oh,
That's what I do.
That's
yeah.
In some ways, I've actually read some psychological studies on this. One of the reasons why it happens in the locker room so much, and I want to dig deeper into this. I'm thinking about going to some more schooling because I want to study this a little bit. One of the reasons why the college and high school locker room is, and really even like little league sports is really important, is because your ability to take teasing is an indicator as to whether your teammates can trust you under pressure situations. And there's some correlation that some of the teasing that takes place is put in place not consciously, subconsciously, to see, hey, can PK take it? Can he handle a little bit of pressure? I'm going to tease him a little bit here to see if he's really my guy, see if he can really handle like an adverse situation. And then if you respond to that well, and you give it back to me, or in some way you deflect it in a funny way, or there's a million ways to react to it. But if you can't take it, you can get like removed from the hierarchy of a team if you're not careful. So guys do that not only to show that they care about someone, but to find out whether I can trust you or not.
I got it. Yeah. Riley Jensen is also a mental health performance coach. He has a website. If you want his services, what is your website? rjpg.net. That's like Riley Jensen Performance Group.net. rjpg.net. Coming up next, we're going to talk about what's going on at Michigan, all those Utah connections. Riley and I will break it down. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.